Hi. All right. You can see I'm recording from a different location. So good to see all of you. I actually don't see your faces, but I see you popping up. That's amazing. So welcome, welcome. So awesome to see you. I'm so thrilled for you. I can't even tell you when I look at the names here on the list that attending. I love thinking about all the women who attended a simple webinar like this and now have lost all this weight and living their life. And so I just love the possibility of what you're creating as you come here. So I want you to honor the time that we have together. We have 1 hour. And so, in order to really make the most of this time that we have, I recommend that you take your phone and turn off any of the devices so you don't get distracted. You can take notes, but remember, I can send out the replay. So, what I would recommend is as you're listening to this webinar, just take notes that spur something in your brain and just make a quick note of it, but don't get overwhelmed by it. Don't start panicking, okay? So, this will be sent to you as a replay. But what I want to do is I want to invite you just to sit here and say, I have this hour with Dara. I'm going to figure out why I keep putting the weight back on. And she's going to share this secret weapon with me. And I want you just to be calm as you listen. Because I know going into this, a lot of you, because I have clients on here that are in my program already. So, everyone else, I know that you have had a very rocky relationship with your body and with food. And so this webinar is going to help you feel so much calmer. Okay, so that is my goal for today. All right, so just so that we get to know each other, I would love you to put, because I love this to be interactive. So I'm Dara Thomason. I am the weight loss coach for quilters. And in fact, I'm the weight loss coach for any woman who has struggled with their weight, who definitely feels like they are really well accomplished in so many other areas of their life, but haven't figured out the weight loss thing and feel so frustrated and feel so stuck. It's so frustrating. You've raised children, you had a job, you had a profession, or you raised them, you managed a household, you did all of these incredible things. You've worked in your community, you've helped all these different people do all the different things, yet you still struggle with this physical and mental weight. And you just want to pull your hair out because it's like, why can't I figure that out? You figured out so many other things. Okay. So those are the kinds of ladies I help. I also help women that struggle with perfectionism, people pleasing, and procrastination. And so you are in the right place. Okay. If you are here, you hear me, you recognize what's happening, and you're like ready to go. So I'm so happy that you're here. So I was a school teacher for 10 years. I have 5 of my own children. I was a professional quilter and teacher and author for 5 or 6 years. And now, in the last 2.5 years, I have become a certified weight and life coach. And I help women learn how to really be who they want to be. So, this webinar is just perfect for you because today we're going to really debunk some uh, things that have kept you from living the life that you want. And so I am so happy that you're here. All right. And I am coming to you today from Edmonton because I am dropping off my daughter from university. So you might hear some kids playing in the background. So they might, like one kid just tried to come into the room. So I wanted to make sure that I had this webinar for you, and I'm so happy to be helping. All right. So what I want to do now is I'm just going to figure out here. Okay, I'm just going to have to pull up. I have a video. All right, sorry, I don't have video. Uh, I prepared a slideshow just so that we could keep on track of everything that's going on here. And I'm just going to pull up my slides that I prepared for you. It's a little different for me, if you bear with me, because I'm on my laptop and I don't normally have my laptop where I do these presentations. So as I'm just finding this, if you would love, I would love to see, where are you from? Where are you coming from? So nobody can see you in this presentation. You can't see each other's faces. Um, but I would love to, but you can put it in the chat of like, where are you coming from? So in the chat. All right, let's just see here. Okay, for some reason. All right, let's see here. So there in the chat, there's two different spaces that you can write in. One says chat, looks like a speech bubble, and the other one is a Q&A. So, oh, where are you coming from? You can just put it in the chat. All right, I'm just gonna pull this up. I see people from Utah. I see people from Regina. I see people from Virginia, from Arizona. We've got ladies from all over the place. It's awesome. Okay. Now, the other thing that I would love to hear in the chat is, what is your biggest struggle with weight loss? Like, what has been, if you were to talk about like your Achilles heel, what is the biggest struggle you have? So you can put that also in the chat, and that would be really helpful to see how people, you can be sharing. One of the things that I love about the Love Yourself Thin program and process is that you're not alone. It is a group program, and so you no longer feel alone. You no longer feel like you are like the special snowflake that's only you that struggles. So that has been awesome to have that kind of community and environment. Okay. All right. All right. So I see in the chat. Oh, here we go. Yeah, so people are here in the Q&A. So from Georgia, oh, the chat is disabled. Oh, that's interesting. One problem is constantly eating sugar. Okay, so just go to the Q&A then. Chat is disabled for me. Oh, North Van, you're just so close to me. All right, so just use the Q&A. That's totally fine. I can use that. All right, so I'm just going to share my screen. And it's going to look a little different, but you know what? We can just go with it. I'm just so glad you're here. I just love that. I love that you're spending this time with yourself, and thank you for your patience. Oh, Nanton, Alberta, I just drove by there. Okay, so can everyone see this now? Thumbs up. Okay, so we'll just go with it this way. So this is our, let's see if I can, all right, we're just gonna have to go with it. Okay, so there's 3 reasons to stop the weight coming back. Learn my secret weapon to keep it off. All right, so in the Q&A, I just want to make sure, can you everyone see this? Sugar and snacking are my downfalls. Okay, so good to know that. I want to hear I really want you to be interactive. So I'm going to put my Q&A over here so I can see that going. All right, so does this sound like you? You have relied on experts to tell you what to eat, how to eat, and when. Depending on others, depending on other people, that makes us feel really unempowered and frustrating. So no wonder weight feels like a swear word for you. All right. And then you can actually change the yo-yo body. How many of you, I do obviously love like having live classes because I love seeing your faces and I love seeing your reactions. But just, you can put it in the chat or the Q&A. How many of you have just gone up like this? You feel like you're just like the yo-yo. It's just going up and down in weight your whole life. So I've created this training for you so that when you leave, you no longer feel scared or discouraged around food. Food is something we can get away from. So learn how to, we can't get away from food, right? We all need to eat. So we need to learn how to feel confident around it. So this is what you want, right? You want to stop second guessing yourself after every comment you make. You want to decide to make a project and know that you will finish it. You want to lose weight and never fear that it will come back. You don't want to get sucked into the scrolling on your phone vortex of going to Instagram and then to go to email and then to go to Facebook, and then go to Pinterest and then YouTube, and then you're like, oh, I wonder what happened on emails. So this vortex just keeps you stuck. Okay. You also, you don't want, so you want to go to the grocery store and then not feel overwhelmed with temptations. You want to walk into a guild meeting without fussing about what you look like and pretending that, or like you don't care, right? So many of us go back and forth of like, I don't care what other people think, but that's not true. And then also like worried about what you look like. So you've changed your outfit 3 or 4 times. You want to play with your grandkids without any limitations. My sister-in-law was just telling me about how this vacation was really hard because her mom just can't do what she used to be able to do. And it really impacted their vacation. It really impacted their relationship. You want to go to dinner with friends and enjoy time together and not be embarrassed, right? And you don't want to be second guessing yourself. You also want to be able to go and do errands without having to buy a treat. It's like, oh man, I got to go through Starbucks or Dairy Queen to get a blizzard because I did such a good job today. You don't want to do that anymore. You also don't want to get sucked into watching TV when you really just want to sew. I had a client who didn't actually have she didn't actually have any physical weight to lose, but she had so much mental weight and she spent so much time watching TV every day. She wasn't really enjoying her life, and she felt she just was watching TV over and over. And as she learned these tools, she actually started to get more done, and she created her own joy, which was so awesome. You also don't want to you want to feel like you don't have to rescue everybody, okay? And you don't want to feel resentful, bitter, or angry with relationships, because the way that we show up and the way that we use food has so much to do. It's a much broader spectrum, right? Okay. You want to go to bed knowing that you have a good life, even though there was some frustrations during the day, right? You want to go to bed feeling like you had this balance in life, that you had difficult things and you had positive things, and that they were that it was just okay and you could handle it. You want to look in a mirror and be proud of who you are instead of avoiding mirrors at all costs, because you start being so mean to yourself. And you also want to be able to say yes or no and not feel guilty on either way. Another thing that you want, I have a few more of them. You want to have coping tools that are easy to use instead of using food all the time to numb out. Okay. So as I'm saying these, I want you to be thinking, is this me? Because if this is you, I want to hear it in the Q&A. I want you to be like, yes, amen. This is what I want, Dara. This is the kind of life I want to have. And then you also want to stop giving power to that mean girl who wrote that nasty comment about being fat in the yearbook, or a well-meaning sister who made comments about your weight. This is what you want. This is why you came to this webinar. You're like, I want this. I want to stop having sugar and snacking as my downfalls. I want to be able to go. I want to be able to stop being addicted to sugar all the time. I want to stop finding myself in the pantry, right? This is what you want, okay? You want to believe that you aren't broken past the point of repair. You want to leave the past behind and not feel afraid of it always coming back and haunting you. You want to feel calm when conflict comes up. And you want to not get your hopes dashed over and over again when you try something new. Okay? So this is what you want. Now, the problem is, for the most part, what you've done to get it is you've looked to experts to try to follow the instructions, right? Like you're like, okay, well, maybe I can be an obedient little girl and I can follow all their instructions. Or you also, maybe this is you, maybe you speak harshly to yourself to stay in line, right? Or maybe you compare yourself to others or compare yourself to your past self. You're like, oh, I used to be so good. I used to have so much willpower. I used to be able to do all these things, and now I'm just a mess, right? Can you like say, yes, I totally get this, Dara? Do you you try to do what other people tell you what to do. So now it's just an exercise of you being well disciplined. Or to use a lot of willpower to accomplish your goals. So is that what you've been doing? Because if that's you, that's exhausting. And I get it. So it doesn't work because you don't learn your own wisdom, you don't learn your own voice, You aren't in integrity with who you are. You don't have your own foundation to build on. You're constantly second guessing yourself. You feel like an imposter. So you don't even feel like you're you. You don't even know who you are anymore. You don't really know who you are because you are spending so much trying to remember who you're trying to be like. You're like, oh, I should be more like Sue, or I should be more like, Georgia, or I should be more like, why can't I be more like Auntie whoever, right? And you're not even really being yourself. And the problem is that you are the only one who control your own thoughts and emotions, right? And emotions only always come from your thoughts. And we have 60,000 thoughts a day, and 95% of those are subconscious, right? And so if you're trying to control all that, you're spending so much time and energy trying to control everything that you're not actually living the life that you want to live. You don't even know who you are. So this is why you're here. This is why you have been, it feels like you're just on this constant roller coaster of weight loss, up and down. You're going to bed exhausted. And this is why you've come here. And this is why I'm here to help you, give you so much relief. So there are lots of reasons why the weight loss comes back on, but I have summarized it into 3 different spots. Okay. The first one is when you don't get to the root of the problem of why you overeat. So I want to tell you something. There are only 2 reasons why we're overweight. One is overhunger. So overhunger simply means you eat more often than your body needs. And so you're constantly eating during the day. And then even within that, you're eating more. So you're overfilling yourself, right? And so many of you, and I want to like, you know, how many of you get up from the table and you're like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I'm so full. Oh, I feel terrible. But you didn't mean to do that. It wasn't your intention to overeat. But how many of you have done that over and over and over? Okay. So I see some of you have said, snacking is a problem. Sugar and snacking are downfalls. So in the chat, I want to hear, how many times would you say, percentage, do you overeat? So simply, I get up from the table and I realize I've overeaten. My stomach feels full. So I just love to hear. You're like, yep, that's me. Or, so you can put that in there. Or also, how many of you are just constantly snacking? You're just like, every time you walk through the kitchen, you have to pick something up, or like if you're going to go in the car, you've just been sewing and you're going to go in the car, you swing by through the kitchen and you grab something, or you're doing errands and you've got to go somewhere and pick something up. It's just like you're constantly having to stop in and grab some food. Okay. So that's part of overeating, overhunger, sorry. And then the other reason why we're overweight is that over desire. So over desire is you going to the Starbucks lineup and saying, "Oh, I really need that special latte," or going through and getting a donut, or going and getting the special treat, or even like spending a whole bunch of time baking or doing something like that, like just needing that sugar and refined flour. So when you know that that's what's happening, now this is the problem. And the reason I have a broken arm there is that we can know what the symptoms are. All right. So the symptom is I feel like embarrassed, or I feel this, or I feel I'm just uncomfortable. I just feel a little uneasy. So instead of going to the root of the problem, just like pain, like if you fell and you broke your arm, you're like, oh, my arm feels really sore. I have a hard time moving it. And if you went to a doctor and you said, hey, doctor, this is how I feel, the doctor would say, okay, well, if you feel pain, I'm just going to give you some Tylenol. And can you imagine if the doctor just did that? The doctor didn't say, well, maybe it's broken. Let's like actually see what's wrong. So that's what we're doing with food. We're actually not going to the problem. We're just saying, I feel uncomfortable. I feel embarrassed. I feel confused, or I feel whatever it is. And if you don't actually get to the root of the problem, we're just always giving ourselves Tylenol. But we're never actually going to get the arm reset We're not going to get the x-ray. We're not going to see what the problem is. And then they're not going to be able to fix it, set it, and then be able to let it heal. So how many of you can relate to this? And so we sometimes food is talked about self-medicating. And when emotions are high, intelligence is low. So I give this example when my husband was gone for 6 months training, and I had two little kids, and I found out I was pregnant right after he left. Um, I was working 50. I was working every morning teaching school, and I had these. My son was 3, and my daughter, they're only 20 months apart. And so I was, everything was on me. Oh yeah. So like, look at this. You guys can relate this. And there's nothing wrong with baking, right? But just like I make pancakes for my kids all the time, but I never eat them. So we're going back to this. So everything was on me. Like I was working every morning, getting the kids off to daycare and doing all these things in the winter. And so having to do bedtime by myself, sometimes I would overeat because I was just like, I don't know if I can handle this. This feels really overwhelming. And so when I filled myself up with more food than I needed, I didn't have to feel my emotions as much. So that's what I say, when emotions are high, or sorry, when you physically fill yourself, you don't have to feel your emotions as much. Okay. So that is one of our survival strategies. And just like I said, it's very subconscious. Okay. And it doesn't allow us to get to the root of the problem. So good to know. So as you think about this, it's like, okay, is this me? And of the overeating, am I doing both? Am I turning to this sugar and flour? Am I just constantly eating? Am I overfilling myself? Like, what am I doing? And then the most important thing to go next is why? Why are you doing it? And so when I could say to myself, oh, you just were feeling really overwhelmed, it was a lot for you to take on, of having, working and supporting the family and having your husband gone and being pregnant and all of that. It's like, oh man, you're amazing. I could give myself a lot of compassion, and I can give myself a lot of love. So that is what I encourage you to do. All right. The second reason why is the reason why you put the weight back on is that you have unsustainable weight loss methods. So you lose weight by starving yourself, using willpower, and a lot of negative self-talk, right? So it's not fun. And it's not something that you're going to want to do for the rest of your life. Like really, when you think about it, if someone said like quilting, you had to, I don't know, you had to always use it. If we didn't have nice sharp rotary cutters, would you want to keep quilting? If you didn't have a sewing machine that worked really well, like it was always breaking down, would you want to keep using that sewing machine? No, you're like, sewing is terrible. Quilting is awful. Like I never can cut things properly. My sewing machine's always breaking. So the problem is, if you're using willpower, and if you're using like, hey, you better smarten up today, you better behave, if that's how you're losing weight, that does not sound fun. And so I made a commitment in the way to when I lost weight, for the last time back in 2018, when I started learning all these tools to organize my brain, I made a promise to myself that I was not going to do crazy things like have these apps that I had to keep track of, and I had to weigh things, and I had to walk a certain amount and do all that and do math and do all that. I'm like, nope, that is not sustainable for me. I am not going to base my weight loss on that. No way. And I also gave myself permission to say, I don't care how long it takes, but I'm going to learn to lose weight in a way that feels like love, that feels like I can do this for the rest of my life, that I can go on vacation and I can do it, and I can have stressful things and I can still do it. And that's what I did. And that's what I teach. All right. The third thing is you put your life on hold until you lose weight before enjoying your life. Oh my goodness. How many of you have done this? I have clients. They didn't go to weddings because they're like, people are going to judge me. So now they're sitting at home so sad. And guess what they're doing? They're placating themselves with ice cream. Well, if I can't go to the wedding, I might as well have some enjoyment from the ice cream, right? The other one, and I just had a lady consult just 2 days ago, and she was talking about she didn't go to a family reunion because she just felt so overwhelmed. She just felt so bad about herself, about her body, and about how things were. And now, so she didn't get to have any connection with her family, and now she's having this problem with her family because they're like, "Why didn't you come? What's wrong with you?" All that, and then it just makes it worse and worse and worse. Another one is you don't buy clothes that feel good in because you're like, I don't like my body, so I'm not going to wear these clothes. And now what's happening is you have a very negative relationship with your body and you're not treating it well at all. And so, can you imagine, like, what kind of relationship do you have with your body now? Right? Certainly not kind. It's certainly not nice. So now, how is that relationship working for you? It's not, is it? So another thing that happens when you put your life on hold, you're like, okay, I can't go on vacation yet until I look good in a bathing suit. I can't go to the kids for Christmas until I'm going to feel proud of myself for the way that we're going to take pictures. I can't, like, this is what I mean. I can't go to the retreat until I can wear these pants again because um, I'm just going to feel so, I'm not going to have the energy that I need, or I'm going to feel so embarrassed. So I can't go to the retreat. Right. So now what happens is you don't feel confident on your own. So now you're relying on others, which is very insecure. So you're like, okay, and this happened to me a lot with my family. So I would go to Christmas dinner and I had used a lot of deprivation, and I even bought a girdle one year, and I relied on my sister. Okay, I like that, Paula. But I relied on my sister. I'm like, if my sister made a comment, then I could feel good about myself. If my sister doesn't make a comment, I'm not going to feel good about myself. That is very insecure. If my brother-in-law doesn't say something, if my dad doesn't say something, right? So I gave everyone the power and I didn't have any power for myself. And it's so fascinating because now that I've lost all this weight and kept it off and done all these really fun things in my business, they don't say anything. They never say anything about my weight. They never say anything about my business, really. In fact, sometimes they make fun of me for being a life coach, like because they don't get it. Like, and so if we keep putting power in other people's hands, then we're never gonna really enjoy our life. Yeah. So this is so interesting, Paula, about constantly snacking. It's like it's like imagine if you were driving in a car and you were so worried about the you running out of gas that you stopped every 5 minutes to top up the car. You would never really enjoy your life because you're constantly worried about your car running out of gas. And so it'd be so fascinating to talk with you, Paula, afterwards, of just talking about, like, what is that feeling you're trying to avoid? Why are you numbing yourself? What are you doing that you're needing to have that food constantly, right? And so as you think about this and as you start putting, like, you were starting to think about that, why do you have these symptoms? Why do you have pain? Why are you going there? And then we can get to the root of the problem. Okay. So, as my promise for the webinar, I'm going to share with you my secret weapon to permanent weight loss. Now, there is a lot with Love Yourself Then, and we're going to talk about that. But so today, I want to just focus on one aspect, and this is one thing that I share. So I have opportunities for all of you to meet with me. I have 5 spots a week where I can give free coaching, and I share with you what I help you kind of figure out what is the problem that you have. We pinpoint it, and then I bring it to your awareness, and then I can give you some support. And then we have a conversation about if it's a good fit to work with me one on one as a one-on-one coach, or if it's a good fit to be in the Love Yourself Then membership. And then we can just see what happens with that. And when we have those meetings, then, and I know it seems really scary, but like people in the, you might be thinking like, oh my gosh, that's super vulnerable, and I totally get it. But I have to tell you, women that have done that they feel so relaxed afterwards. They have so much relief. And they're like, it's not so scary. Dara's not as scary. I'm a very real person. Like I have, you know, like right now I'm sitting in my friend's basement and my kids are playing Nerf guns outside, right? And so I'm a everyday person. I'm dropping my daughter off at university, and having those meetings just gives you so much relief. So today I'm going to focus on how I can help you change the way you've been approaching weight loss. All right. So, and the reason I have the science picture is because the first thing I love to teach you right now, and I want you to just imagine you're putting on a science coat. Okay. I used to be a school teacher, and I, at one point, had like 3 bins, like big totes, just for costumes for myself, because I love to play and I love to have fun. And so, what I want you to do right now is just imagine, just play with me here, right? Because we're all kids at heart, that we're putting on a science coat and we're going to be a scientist. And I have to tell you right now, spoiler alert, because people ask me, like, how did you lose 50 pounds without counting calories and exercising? Like, how did you do it? How did you not track your steps? Like, how is that possible? And I will tell you that the number one emotion that helped me with this was curiosity. Yeah, it's so fascinating. Curiosity. So when I learned to be curious with myself and I could become the scientist for myself, guess how I felt? I felt empowered. And I realized, oh my gosh, I'm organized. I'm an organized person in so many areas of my life. I could get organized in my thoughts. I could create this change for myself. You kidding? Maybe I could do it. And I started getting really curious. I was like, oh, maybe I could be a person that lost weight and kept it off. Maybe I could be a person who would go to an anniversary or to a potluck and not eat all the desserts. Huh. So, just for the rest of this webinar, I want you to just imagine. I'm going to listen to what Dara has to say with curiosity, with a little bit of, because curiosity doesn't have any judgment. Okay. It's just like you're a child again. All right. So here we go. One of the reasons you are struggling to lose weight is you are trying to lose it from the wrong place in your mind. Okay, so imagine this. Imagine you putting on your exercise clothes. You get out of bed, you got your exercise stuff right beside your bed, and you're like, okay, I'm going to exercise because my body is disgusting and I'm such a failure. And what's wrong with me? Why haven't you figured this out yet? You're just such a loser. You know, how many years are we going to play this game of, yeah, let's pretend you can exercise and you can make a difference? Okay, that's one way. Or you're like, oh man, look at me. I'm like getting out there with my body. Huh, good job. You know, you for putting out your shoes. You know what? Maybe we'll just move our body a little bit, or maybe we won't. But like, I love that you're just like always never going to quit on yourself. So if you are going to do the exercise because you think you're disgusting and you think that the only way you're going to be a valid human being is because you're going out of, you think you're disgusting and that you're unacceptable, versus, you know, I kind of not don't want to have diabetes, type 2 diabetes. And I kind of just like want to move more, and I want to be more physically active and fit with my grandkids and with my husband. And I really want to enjoy my retirement. You know, I think I'm just going to move my body a little bit, just a little bit, because I kind of want to be healthy. I think I could try that. Because what are the two different emotions? Right? What would happen if you slowed everything down? Because like I said, 95% of our thoughts are subconscious. If you slow down and be like, oh, I wonder why I'm talking to myself like this. I wonder why I'm treating myself so mean. So I really want to help you enjoy anything you do. So if you choose to go to the gym, I want you to help you with that. So just even saying, you know what, I'm just going to go to the gym. Just like, I'm going to do it. And I'm not going to be like beating myself up. I'm just going to try. So what would it be like if you know, and then saying yes without resentment. right? What about finishing projects? You're like, yeah, I'm going to do that. But then you never have that. You can even like quiet that voice of, yeah, right, you're going to get that finished. I wonder how long it's going to take you. You're never going to get that done. But I really want you to have to enjoy anything you do. I want you to even enjoy looking at yourself in the mirror or even walking by the mirror, right? We won't start. So when you start learning, because but love yourself then, and this process that I'm talking about is learning how to organize your thoughts, learning how to be in your brain and not beating yourself up. And so when you learn a way to organize your thoughts and organize your brain, then when you start learning that, it's like you can go by the mirror and say, yeah, I have gotten a little bit overweight, and you can just walk by the mirror. Because what I want, this the secret weapon is we need to learn how to get into our brain and how to even start getting to neutral, because and being even conscious. So when Paula says she's constantly overeating, I'm sorry, she's constantly over snacking, it's like she's afraid to be in her brain. And I'm going to teach you not to be afraid to be in your brain. It's like, I'm going to give you a little example. So if your house is messy, let's say your house is super messy, you're like, oh my goodness, how did this happen? And you don't want to see the mess. If you turn the light off in your house, you won't see the mess. But as you walk through your house, you're going to be tripping all over the place, right? You're not taking care of the problem. You're just, this is that whole number one when we talked about the symptoms. You're not actually dealing with the problem. And that is what we're going to do. And so I want to help you to feel comfortable going into your brain, to getting understanding of what's going on, and then to even start feeling neutral about it. So not having mean things to say, but also not forcing positive things, right? So you're like, oh yeah, this is fine. I'm gonna be fine. That's not authentic. That's not true. That's not being honest. Okay. So what's gonna happen is that's one thing we aren't gonna do. We're not gonna do this mantra of just like, saying the same thing over and over again, because that doesn't work for anyone, not just you. Okay. And this positive reformation, there's been a lot of misunderstanding about the power of that. But so what I teach is that I have actual tools that help you organize your thoughts, that help you to feel like you can go into your brain and that you can start feeling neutral about all the thoughts that you have. And you can even start feeling possibly like starting to love yourself and having compassion for yourself. And if you can get there, even to respecting yourself, there will be a huge shift in what you do and how you do it. So there is these two sisters, and they have their PhD, Lexi and they're Kite sisters, and they talk about body love and how you can just even start appreciating your body and how much your body is such a powerful tool. Like we can take a pen and we can write things, or we can breathe and we don't even have to think about it. Like our heart's beating and we don't even have to do anything. We can blink our eyes, like we can do all of these things. Like our bodies are amazing. So even like when we think about our teeth, like our teeth are so incredible and we can do so much with that. So even our sense of smell or our sense of touch, like all the things that we can do, and we can shift it away from being so negative and about our having extra fat on our body. Okay, so that's what I'm talking about. And so then, so one of the other things I'm noticing are all the different people in diets that tell you what to eat and not eat to lose weight. And there's a lot of energy going into thinking about food. So I just gave this example of keto. It's like you can only eat 10% of this and 20% of this and 70% of this. And you've got to like, and so what the problem is when you're approaching food, you're approaching food as a good student, and it's not serving you as the person. I mean, I'm 6 feet tall. All my clients, they're all different shapes and sizes. So it's not a one size fits all. We come from different backgrounds, we have different ethnicities, we have different DNA makeup, we have a different body type. Like we're all so super different. So why would like how would me as a 6 foot tall girl who has Iceland has Norwegian and Swedish and British background tell someone who's 5'2" who has Portuguese background or whatever? Like the body is different. It is different. We have different needs. Okay, we're hardwired differently. So when you can actually not be always in fear and feel like you have to be this good student and obey other people, you can actually turn that energy into curiosity, and that will make all the difference for you. I promise. Okay, so the next part is that I want to help you to create a super simple, and I call it a protocol. So, for what you will eat based on a really simple method of eating for weight loss, and you're going to do it without feeling restricted in a bad way. The moment your brain feels like you are restricted and deprived, and it's coming from feeling negative for where you are now, your brain's natural reaction is to, right, it's going to revolt, it's going to rebel. Like, how many of you feel like rebellious teenagers, right? You binge eat. You're like, no one can tell me what to do. Because when you're coming to your brain from that place of deprivation, it feels really restrictive and it feels like you're in this jail, and you just want to fight and get out of it, right? Our natural responses are to fear or to anything bad is like fight, flight, or freeze. Okay. So that is what we're doing with food. And I want to help you create a ton of power, desire, and choice around what you eat and don't eat. It will change your life, and you need support. You need to support, sorry, and I'm going to support you so that you don't fail. Okay. So what we do next is I help you. So it's a human thing, right? You're going to have someone to come to work with warm donuts, and you're going to want to eat them in a moment of weakness. I used to be a school teacher. People brought donuts all the time to the staff room. And if you had some problems with the student or you felt overwhelmed, it was like, I need that a little hit of dopamine, right? We need to learn to create a process for how you will handle this ahead of time that doesn't include beating yourself up and quitting completely, right? That's that whole yo-yo dynamic, right? It's like all or nothing thinking. And we have to create a fail-safe plan, right? A fail plan, sorry, kind of like a family emergency plan. And so that is what we do, because we have emergencies, and they do feel like emergencies, right? Like my daughter is leaving. I have 4 sons and a daughter. My oldest son is already gone. My daughter's leaving, and I'm dropping her off. And I can just imagine my drive home and just the weeks of her being gone. She made really good cinnamon buns. There's so much food that I could be reminded of her and of all the things. And it's like, I have to make that plan ahead of time. I'm like, I'm not going to turn to the food to try to commiserate or to feel connected to my daughter. I'm going to do other things. So we are going to work on quitting ahead of time, and quitting after the fact. The goal is to learn and move forward from love and desire for what you want, right? And what I really want is I want to be healthy and strong. And so that's what I need to work on. Okay. So I want to let you know this. Permanent weight loss is the same as learning to tie your shoes. Okay. So when you were a kid and they said, hey, we're going to tie your shoes, you had to first believe in yourself. Second, you had to believe in your teacher, right? Did you trust them that they know how to tie shoes and they were a competent, capable person? Maybe this might have even been your older sister or older brother. And then third is you had to believe in a solution or product. So is it worth learning to tie shoes so I could wear those certain running shoes so I could tie them myself? So I didn't have to wait around for my mom or my sister or my teacher to tie them. And so you had to believe the solution, right, or the product was worth the struggle. So with permanent weight loss, it's the same thing. Do you believe, and like I said, do you believe that you're like, you know what? If Dara did it and all these other women in her program have done it, like I believe in myself, I can do other things. Maybe I could believe in myself to learn these tools. Do you believe in me as a teacher or in the process? And then do you believe the solution of like, I can learn to cope without food. I can learn to stop numbing myself. I can learn to love myself so that I can take care of myself, and I can lose the weight and I can keep it off forever, right? So that's the question. And the thing that blew my mind and that blows my mind all the time when I'm in my program with my one-on-one clients is that this is what it comes down to. This is the process of human nature. How we've learned anything. I mean, look at us all learning how to do Zoom, right? Before the pandemic, I mean, how many of you use Zoom really? It's like you're like, okay, I believe in myself that I can get on a Zoom call. I believe that if I need to get help to do it, I can go on YouTube and I can figure it out, or I can, contact Zoom and get a phone call. And I can believe that being on Zoom and connecting to people was worth it. So this is the human way of learning. And it's the same thing with weight loss. But when you learn when you trust yourself and you don't quit, you're going to have success. Okay. So why it works. So you discover how you got where you are, right? You discover, oh, this is why I keep going to snacking. This is why I am always doing this. It's like, oh, okay, I'm getting to the root of the problem here. You aren't afraid of taking responsibility for yourself and your results. You also learn that with weight loss, it was always a moving target. You were like, you know, you were putting power in other people's hands. You also you learn how to balance your thinking. You learn how to organize your thinking. So now when you have negative things happen, you can balance that out. You also understand that your thoughts are what create feelings, and the feelings are the fuel for our actions. Everything we do in life is because we want to feel a certain way. And this is not a mystery anymore. So if I had a thought, every thought I have has an emotion that's attached to it. And if I'm not trying to avoid that emotion or react to that emotion or avoid it, I can just be a human and have a human experience. And the last thing that happens when you learn to love yourself and to be curious and to not turn to the food and actually get to the bottom of it is that your nervous system has now is able to be relaxed, and you don't have to be in that fight, flight, or freeze mode. Okay, I love this picture coming up. So when you learn the love yourself then process, and even when you learn how to get to neutral, to stop turning the light off and like learn how to organize your thoughts, you become self-aware without judgment, right? You take responsibility for your own actions, and you stop turning to I'm not good enough or blame others for your life. I just posted on my Instagram stories a quote from Gabby, a little video from Gabby Bernstein, and she's talking about how all of us as humans, we all feel like we're either unlovable or we're not enough. And so it is one of our greatest, deepest fears. And when we learn how to approach that fear with compassion and empathy, we can overcome anything. Okay. So that the results that you learn when you start getting neutral, when you stop turning the lights off, when you start looking at the mess, you will take responsibility for your own feelings without blaming or shaming yourself. You will break the reliance on food for joy or that false pleasure. You learn to create your own delayed gratification. You learn to trust yourself, and you build self-confidence. All right. So that is the training for today. So there's the 3 things that we do. So we lose weight because all those 3 that I shared. Here, I'll just go to them quickly. I want to make sure yeah. So the one is you don't get to the root of the problem. You use unsustainable weight loss methods, and you put your life on hold before you can lose weight. So that is what you've been doing. And when you do that, you are not creating the life that you want. And the secret weapon for today's webinar is to stop turning the light off, right? So you can turn the light on and see the mess, right? That you feel like you like looking at your body and saying, okay, why am I here? With curiosity and compassion. And so as you learn to do this, and as you learn to anticipate things ahead of time, we can make this emergency plan. And also I really want to emphasize that the secret weapon really is when you believe in yourself, you believe in the teacher, and you believe in a solution. Just like tying shoes, you can do the same thing with permanent weight loss. I promise you. Okay. All right. this part now is where I teach you how you can get this yourself. So this is called Love Yourself Thin. And when you accept yourself for where you are and learn why you do what you do, you are no longer afraid or have fear around food or your feelings. And so Love Yourself Thin is a lifetime membership with lifetime support. And when you invest one time, it's a $2,000 membership. And in that, it's a lifetime access. And not only is it lifetime access to all the support, but you have then a group of women who are all going through this at the same time as you. And you can go right now and you can sign up. So darathomason.com/love yourself thin. And you can pay right now. And if you do, I would love you to come back on and say, like, you can do it right now and tell us. And I love to like celebrate you in this. And in fact, right after this call, in 7 minutes, you could just come right to our class that we're having right after this. So let me just tell you, in this program, what's going to happen is you are going to learn the 5 vital steps to permanent weight loss. The first one is weight loss science is simple. I have to tell you that. The news, everyone makes it really complicated. It's really simple. There's just 3 hormones we need to balance. And just because it's simple doesn't mean it's easy, but I help you make it easy. The second vital step is you create and troubleshoot your own eating protocol. That's what I talked about earlier. It's like we all have an eating protocol, but if you are keep gaining weight and not feeling good in your body, then what you're eating and how you're treating yourself isn't helping you. All right. So you learn how to troubleshoot it. So if you get on the scale and you keep gaining weight, you're like, I wonder why. And then I give you tools to help you to correct that. The third vital step is that you learn to process your emotions. And so instead of running away from your emotions or numbing yourself or hiding, I actually teach you to process them, recognize and process them. It's a game changer. The fourth thing that happens in the permanent Love Yourself Thin process, where you create permanent weight loss, is you take responsibility for yourself. So if your daughter-in-law makes a comment, you can take responsibility. You don't have to live in shame and blame. All right. And then the fifth step of Love Yourself Thin and how you create this permanent weight loss is you learn how to build self-confidence. Some people think, oh, that person was just born with self-confidence. You're either born with it or you're not. That's actually not true. There's a process of learning to be more self-confident. And that's what I teach you in Love Yourself Thin. Okay. So in this process, so $2,000 and you get this whole process, but I have to tell you, it's risk-free because I have a money back guarantee. Your first 20 pounds you lose 20 pounds in the first 90 days. It's a very simple plan. And as soon as you sign up, you get a contract, and it's very simple. I have a mindset. I teach 5 mindset videos right at the top, and there's a contract that you just fill in, and there's just a few simple things you have to do to guarantee that you'll get the 20 pounds in the first 90 days. And what I'm finding is the more women that join, the faster and faster the weight is coming off. So it's so exciting. All right. So what are customers saying? Well, Sue said, this program has changed me more than I ever imagined. Now I've lost more than 80 pounds. I see how much power I have to be happy in my life. Deirdre said, I was afraid I could never change and felt so hopeless. With the support of the group and the tools I have, so much hope. Losing 21 pounds in 6 weeks has never been easier. Well, she's never done it before either. And then Deb said, I realized that just because I struggled with my weight for more than half my life, weight did not need to define me. I have lost over 70 pounds physically, but the emotional piece is so freeing. How fun is that? Now, I have a special offer for you. Until August 31st, I will allow you to have 4 equal payments for the Love Yourself Thin process. So if you want to join right now, it's like, okay, and if you don't have the $2,000, let's make a deal. I will offer that 4 equal payments for you. So if you want that, you can just contact me. Now, in the program, there's 3 live calls a week. So you can come on, you can get coaching, you can watch other people coaching. It's amazing. We have an Ask a Coach feature where you just ask You can ask as many times as you want. It's anonymous, and one of myself or one of my trained coaches will answer you. And there's a whole bank of these questions, so you can go and you can see what other people are struggling with. We also have all the replays of calls and master courses because I want to help you with that. And then the private Facebook group with support in the community. So just to back up for a second. So when you join the Love Yourself In process, you get right on demand the 5 mindset videos, you get your contract, and then you have the 12 modules that teach the 5 vital steps. Within those are yours for life. Like you have the videos, you have the worksheets, they're amazing. And we just work through that. You get that on demand. And then all of these, the live coaching calls, the Ask a Coach, the replays, and the private Facebook group, those are all supports to help you to have so much success. Because I'm always there, like helping you to guarantee have success. Now, oh my goodness, there I am having a live event. It is so much fun. We are going to be going to Lisa Bonjean's Primitive Gatherings. It's going to be $2,500. I'm going to be teaching about weight loss maintenance. Oh my gosh. So even if you're like, Dara, I haven't even lost the weight I want to lose. Guess what? I'm going to give you the full picture. So you've got to come to this. It's going to be so amazing. We're going to have so much fun. We're going to be learning. We're going to be having adventures. We're going to be going out in the nature. We're going to have workshopping. We're going to be together. We're going to be creating. It's going to be an incredible adventure. And if you sign up before August 31st, guess what? I will pay for your room. I will pay for your room and your food on me. So really, you're going to be saving so much. And I really want you to be there. It'll be amazing. Now, the last thing that I want to offer to you is that I have 5 spots, like I said before, that you can come and get free coaching. We can talk about where you're at, what's going on for you, and I can give you that one-on-one attention. So you need to direct message me. You just say, Dara, I need to come. I need to come to this because those 5 spots fill up really quickly. So come to those. And then if you do have questions about Love Yourself In and about the live event, then we can see if it's a good fit for us. So just make sure that you just reply to me. You ladies are amazing. I am so sorry we didn't have more time for questions. Again, so if you have any questions, just ask me them quickly. Oh, I've got to go. So you can message me, Dara@darathomason.com. You're amazing. Thank you so much for coming and taking this time for yourself. I can't wait to meet you. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.